Welcome to the new Morning Post concept, which I've decided to call the cooler. It works on 3 levels in my head, but I'm not going to explain them because there's nothing worse than explaining why you think you're clever. Let's just say these are 5 things you might want to discuss around the water cooler. 1. To make you feel cooler. 2. Even as I act as the cooler downer of hot takes. 3. Here we go. Asterisk. A good compromise seldom makes all parties happy, but it at least leaves people satisfied that a reasonable solution to a complex problem was achieved. The NFL's convoluted attempt to simplify its national anthem policy does no such thing. It might seem simple, stand if you are on the field or stay in the locker room, but further investigation of the policy only invites more questions and creates divides. The interesting thing, one mentioned by a few of you when I tweeted Wednesday, remember this day when the NBA is more popular than the NFL in 10 years, is that the NBA actually has a more strict anthem policy. So why is the NFL hammered while the NBA is lauded? Easy. The NBA has cultivated and earned a reputation for being supportive of players and big-picture social justice issues. ESPN's Dan Graziano nailed it with a Thursday Morning Post on this very issue. He wrote, "Why is the NBA hailed as a bastion of social responsibility while the NFL comes under criticism for trying to push its players around? The answer has to do with sincerity, trust and authenticity of motivation. Maybe each sport is playing to their respective bases. I just have a feeling it's not going to be a good long-term look for the NFL, which already skews much older than the NBA." Asterisk. Did thoughtful NFL player Chris Long have some things to say about all this? You bet he did. pic.twitter.com/xs5q9iberv. Chris Long, at Joel91, May 23, 2018. Asterisk. Speaking of the NFL and the anthem, here's a story from Yahoo saying the league polled fans during free agency last year about Colin Kaepernick. That might be useful to the QB in his collusion case against the league. Asterisk. I've run 5 marathons, humble brag, but I can assure you I've never accidentally run a marathon. That distinguishes me from Mike Kohler of West Fargo, ND, who signed up for the Fargo Half Marathon, started at the wrong time, took a wrong turn, and ended up doing the full 26.2 miles instead of just 13.1. He'd never even run a half marathon before. Asterisk. After one good game, the NBA Conference Finals resumed the trend of being lopsided duds when the Celtics went up 3-2 on the Cavaliers with a stifling 96-83 win. That said, Cleveland gets Game 6 back at home, and if you want to bet against LeBron James in a Game 7, be my guest. Michael Rand started Randball with hopes that he could convince the world to love jumpsuits as much as he does. So far, he's only succeeded in using the word redacted a lot. He welcomes suggestions, news tips, links of pure genius, and pictures of pets in Halloween costumes here, though he already knows he will regret that last part. Follow @Randball on Twitter. More from Randball the Cooler. The NFL's convoluted attempt to simplify its national anthem policy only invites more questions and creates divides. Adrian Wojnarowski, the NBA truth whisperer, had an interesting little nugget embedded within a bunch of draft chatter during a new episode of his podcast. The Cooler, is the Packers quarterback still passive-aggressively taking shots at Green Bay management after an offseason in which they dumped his favorite receiver AMD trusted quarterback coach? In the third installment of ESPN's World Fame 100, another attempt was made at picking the 100 biggest names in sports. The results are pretty sobering for every U.S. pro league except for the NBA. After listening to new Wild GM Paul Fenton and others Tuesday, maybe rebuilding and tweaking are distinctions without a real difference, at least when it comes to the Wild situation.